This is a training series made in collaboration with Saucony. I'm going to be testing, training and racing in their all-new endorphin range for my Noosa marathon build. Saucony has a long history of producing high-quality footwear for runners. Their shoes are recognized for their comfort, durability and performance, making them a favorite amongst serious runners and athletes. You can find their all-new endorphin range out now on their website. So big shout out to Saucony for jumping on board the Chasing 245 series. What is up? Welcome back to another episode of the Noosa 245 series. Another week has passed, so that means another week of Training Diaries is due. Training Diaries is the series where I have more of a chill, laid back conversation, something that you could chuck on maybe as a podcast while you're doing whatever you like to do with your time. And I talk about the previous week of training that I've just finished. The ups, the downs, how I'm feeling, the paces, and the key sessions that I get into for that week. So let's get into the week of training that was the 8th to the 14th of April. So how was my week? Firstly, to carry on the tradition of the last 3 episodes and starting off the chat with more talk about watches. Now I am currently a Coros guy, funnily enough. I've been using the Pace 3 for the better part of a week now. This watch arrived on Monday and my first run in the watch was Tuesday. And let me tell you, having a watch again is a godsend. I'm still working out the ins and outs of the watch, but so far I'm enjoying it a lot. There's a few cons that come with the watch, but I would say that the pros definitely outweigh the cons. So last week was my biggest week of the training block so far with 116 kegs. And I'm definitely starting to feel that overall fatigue set in, but I'm still managing to hit key workouts, hit key paces, and still hit key mileage as well. So I guess I can't really complain with how the body's holding up so far. Again, still in unknown territory. I haven't fallen apart yet, so ready to keep pushing the limits. So this week came with not only a new watch, but also came with a new training schedule as well. So in the previous couple of weeks, I've been doing 2 midweek sessions. I've been doing a session on a Tuesday that is more focused towards threshold, and then I've been doing a session on Friday which is more focused towards VO2. So what we're going to be doing now, from now leading up until the marathon, we're taking out 2 sessions and just replacing it with 1 higher volume session on a Thursday that caters for both threshold and VO2. This session comes with not only more volume, but the reason that we've changed from 2 to 1 is just because those sessions on a Sunday are just getting bigger and bigger, and they're going to get bigger and bigger leading up to the marathon. And just having the 1 day between the Sunday and the Tuesday session just isn't enough to recover. So now we're allowing for those 3 days to recover. I'm still going to be running easy on those days, but now I've got 3 days to actually recover from that Sunday workout and be able to give Thursday a red hot crack. And then I have a couple more days to recover before I hit the big Sunday workout again. So basically it's just not sustainable to hit those 2 sessions a week. And we're shifting the focus more from the 5K, 10K, shorter rep efforts to more the longer half marathon, more marathon specific efforts. And that comes with longer reps, which means more volume, which means more accumulative fatigue from the session, which means I'm gonna need to focus a little bit more on the recovery to be able to, back it up and I guess not fall apart come Sunday and be able to actually feel good and smash out a good solid Sunday session. Like for example, this Sunday, so yesterday's session, I felt like I could have done 10 more K, maybe not 10 more K, but 5 to 10 more K easy jogging after that session was done. And I don't think I would have been able to do that if I had hit 2 big sessions during the week instead of just the 1. I felt pretty recovered and pretty fresh and ready to go by that Sunday, which I guess was the whole point of why we changed the training for that. So that's kind of just that's a brief overview of how my training has gone this week. Feeling good, feeling fit, had sore calves leading up until about Wednesday or Thursday. I think I talk about that on Strava anyway. So let's get into Strava and start breaking down the week that was last week. Let's do it. This video series is proudly sponsored by AidStation. They are supporting me with all of my fueling and hydration needs for the Noosa Marathon training block. I've been using Aid Station to stock up on gels, electrolytes, and triple magnesium since the Melbourne Marathon build, and I haven't looked back since. They are offering my viewers 10% off with the code DAVES10, which you can find in the description of this video. Back to you, Dave. So we come to Monday, the first run of the week. I just did 8Ks easy recovery. These were at 5:09, so 41 minutes in duration, 8Ks, nice and easy. Ran these in the on Cloud Eclipse, and at this stage, because I ran in the morning, I hadn't yet received the chorus. So this was a watchless run, and would be my last watchless run before we get to Tuesday's run. Okay, so Tuesday used to be a session, but it's just got changed to 60 minutes easy. So that's exactly what I did. I did 12Ks at 5:04s, which accumulated to about an hour on the feet. Ran this in the On Cloud Eclipse as well. These guys get a pretty big workout this week, the On Cloud Eclipse. Lots of easy running. And I got here first run in the Chorus Pace 3. And yeah, not really much else to say about that session. So moving on to the next day, we have Wednesday. So usually this is my easy 80 minutes, but because Wednesdays I work in the morning and the afternoon, split shift, I'm forced to run at about that 2:30 p.m. time. And it's pretty hot here in Brisbane at that time. And I just really didn't feel like running the extra 20 minutes in the sun before I had to go and do a long shift at work in the afternoon. So what I did was I swapped my Tuesday and Friday runs, and I did 60 minutes easy on the Tuesday instead. I think it's totally fine to mix up your training like that. It's all just getting Ks on the legs, getting volume in, time on feet. So I think it's totally fine to switch up your easy running. And that's exactly what I did. So I did 1 hour. This one was at 4:46s, and I got 12.5 Ks in for that one. So you could tell like I wanted it to be over fairly quickly, so I was running a little bit faster for that one, and wore the On Cloud Eclipse. Then we come to Thursday, which is my first and only midweek session. This was a massive session. This really set the tone for what's to come in the rest of the training block for these midweek, big volume, more half marathon, marathon specific workouts. And to be honest, it kind of broke me at the end. I did this one at the end of the day, so I had the full day of fatigue. And it was one of those sessions where as you start, you just have no idea how you're gonna get to the end and how you're gonna hit paces. I wasn't confident at all, but somehow ended up getting it done. So the session was as follows: 15-minute warm up and 15-minute cool down. Then for the session, we had 2x3K, 2x2K, 2x1K, 2x500 meters. So the idea was to start around half marathon effort for the 3K efforts, then work my way down to 5K effort by those 500 meter efforts. I wrote here on the Strava post, felt dreadful on the first 3K and was really doubting myself on hitting my paces, but somehow ended up getting it done. No word of a lie, that was very tough. I wore the Chorus heart rate monitor and I wore the Chorus pod for the first time, and I found it to be very, very accurate, although I'm not sure if it was just the fatigue of the day and just running later in the afternoon, but the paces felt a lot harder than they were saying. But that's a me issue, not a Chorus issue, I can assure you that. Ended up hitting some pretty good paces. So all of these reps had 90 seconds standing recovery in between, which was a bit of a godsend, because when I finished my first 3K rep, I was on struggle street, but it's amazing how well you can recover off 90 seconds. I felt like I kind of got my shit together fairly well for this one. So my first 3K rep I did at 3:45 average. Second one was at 3:43 average, so a little bit faster, so exactly what I was after. The next lot of 2Ks was at 3:41 average. The second lot of 2K was 3:39 average, so just slowly progressing through the paces as we go through the reps. The first 1K rep was at 3:30 pace. The second 1K rep was at 3:30 pace as well. So that's getting close to around my 10K pace or 10K effort. And then we come to the last two rounds of 500 meters. So the first 500 meter rep was at 3:15. a little bit hot. And then the second and final 500 meter rep was at 3:14s. So like I said, I felt dreadful at the start, but somehow you just end up getting it done. You just have to realize that you're in this uncomfortable position. There's no way out of it. So you may as well just accept your fate and just rip in. So overall, I was really happy that I got this done. It was one of those ones that builds a bit of confidence in yourself that when shit gets real, shit gets hard, that you can persevere and you can get through it. So overall, really great stimulus on the body, but I think I got some really good mental stimulus for that one as well. A bit of ticker stimulus. So for the session, it was 19.86 Ks in total. It took me an hour and a half to do it. Yeah, 1,400 calories. Solid mid-weeker. And yeah, like I said, it set the tone for the week. It set the tone for the future weeks to come. I think there's gonna be some more spicy Thursday sessions to come in the near future as well. But then we move on to Friday. So Friday, this is where I did Tuesday's easy 80 minutes. Should have been an hour, but I ended up swapping it around. This one, I ran 80 minutes. This one was at 6 in the morning. Cool conditions. You know how much I love that shit. And 450 pace, 16.5 Ks. Not really much else to comment on that. It was just one of those junk miles, just getting it done, putting 80 on the board. Then we move on to Saturday. So Saturday, this was usually just a nice easy run with the Up Track boys at my run club. But because I've missed out on that second session and we're adding a bit more volume for the week, this one was also an easy 80 minutes. So I went to my run club nice and early with a few of the boys, and we did some pre-Ks before the workout. Overall, I did 80 minutes in total. This one was done at 5:15 average overall, and then I ran just over 15K. So what the boys were doing, they were doing a workout, I forget the name of it, but essentially it was 6 rounds of 400 meter hard, 200 meter jog recovery, and then you finish with a hard 200. So it works out to be a perfect 5K for the workout. Good little spicy session if you want to try that one out yourself. But a few of the boys are doing that, and I just was on the jog squad, just cutting laps, doing jogging while they were doing that. Then we all cooled down together, and that's where I got the 15K. Then we come to the main event. As always, I try to hype these up as much as possible. This is where the fun is. We got the Sunday longie. So for this Sunday longie, I had Dan from Document Media, who's based on the sunny coast. He came down and he brought all the gear, and he actually had an idea. I'm half the gear and half the idea, I guess. But yeah, usually it's just me. If I'm gonna film on a Sunday longie, I'm usually just running solo, carrying the GoPro, and it's really just first person kind of footage. And I mean, I do enjoy that, but it's missing that like real quality content feel and smooth 4K feel. So Dan came down and he was following us on the bike, absolute legend. He followed us for the whole two and a bit hours. He had the drone, he had the gimbals out. He got some epic footage, which I've actually already got off him, and I'm gonna be editing that video. It should be coming out in the next couple of days, or it should be coming out on the weekend for my usual Saturday upload. But yeah, get keen for that, guys, because it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be sick. But I'm still gonna do a breakdown of how the session went and how the splits were in this video, and then you can see all the visuals to go with it on the next upload. But for the workout, guys, we had 3 times 5K on, 5K off. So we started off the workout with 5Ks, nice and easy to get nice and warmed up. And then we started off with the 5K ons being done at marathon efforts. So marathon effort, we were dialing in around 350 to 355 pace. And then the offs, we were doing at a comfortable side of a float. So it was around anywhere between 425 to 435 pace for the floats. The first rep is always, I feel, the hardest, just because it takes a little bit of time to sort of dial in that marathon pace, dial in that marathon effort, and just get into like a flow state of things. I feel like you're still trying to get everything moving and get everything working. But our first 5K went as follows. It was 356, 351, 351, 355, and then 354. So we sort of honed it in, sat at around probably that 355 average. I think we ran 1940 for the 5K. So around in that good area, but we weren't stressing too much on paces. We were just more focused on effort at this stage. Then we did our next 5K float at 428, 423, 425, 425, 422. So that around that 425 average was where we were looking at floating, and that was where it was comfortable enough that we were recovering, but we weren't just like doing a complete easy run. We still wanted to have the foot on slightly. But if you guys, or as you guys know, with floats, it's funny how when you float after a hard effort, your float effort is way faster than it feels. Like at that stage, we were running 420, 425, but it felt like 455 just because we were off the back of running 350s, if that makes sense. But then we get into our second 5K at marathon pace. This one, 356, 350, 352, 350, 351. This one, we progressed a little bit more, and I think we dialed it in a little bit closer to that 350 pace in total for averaged for that 5K. So at that stage, we were feeling really good. Yeah, I wasn't really struggling all that much. It was a nice crisp morning. We're feeling really good. I was fueling well. The fueling strategy that I had for the run, I think I talk about this in the video. The idea was to just have a gel every half an hour to 40 minutes, a 40 gram gel. I had a 8-station bottle with carbs and electrolytes in it, which had 60 grams. And I was just kind of sipping those as we ran past the ute on the easy float 5Ks. So, and I ended up getting that full bottle in by the end of the workout as well. So I think in total for the whole workout, I would have had 40, 40, 40, so 120. And then plus 60, so 180, about 220 grams of carbs consumed over the whole 2 hours, and definitely well fueled, and I felt the benefits from that for sure. But then yeah, our next 5K float for the day was 429, 430, 427, 422, 424. So yeah, again, just running with what feels good, what felt good at the time. Then we come into our final 5K marathon effort, send home. And you know, we had to do it a little bit fast, especially for those last few Ks. Something just kind of comes over you, especially when you're running with somebody not competitive, but you just get keen for it to be done. And it's always good to kind of pick it up near the end of a session. I feel you just feel like a boss. Like you're hitting your splits, you're hitting your Ks, you're feeling good. It's like, why not send it? Why not finish strong? But we went 347, 350, 349, 349, 343 for the last K, which was the fastest K of the day as well. Overall felt really good. My heart rate averaged 167 for that last, or 165 for that last 5K. Still definitely dancing around that threshold range. So definitely in the right space. And then we ran 2Ks nice and easy home. So 444, so both of those cool down Ks. So in total for the workout, it was a 32 kilometer session, 417 average, and we were moving for 2 hours and 17 minutes. I wrote here on the little description, finished this session feeling like I could have ran 10 more kilometers. Good sign, good session. 10 kilometers might be a bit of a stretch. I mean, I could have done it, probably wouldn't have felt amazing, but I think the point that I was getting at for that little description there is I finished feeling really good. I did a big marathon session 3 weeks before at that same place, solo, and when I finished that session, I felt honestly pretty defeated and depleted. But this time, I felt like I could have kept going. My legs weren't cramping on me. It's just crazy what 3 weeks of solid training and looking after yourself can do. At the start of a block, you feel like marathon pace is never going to feel easy. Well, it's never going to feel easy, but you feel like it's never going to get any easier. And then you do a session like this and it really starts to make you feel good about yourself, because that marathon pace really does start to feel a bit more comfortable. Like, it's night and day the difference that 350 pace felt 3 weeks ago to what it feels now. So love that. Absolutely love that. But yeah, that concludes the weekly Strava breakdown segment of the series. what we're gonna get into now, guys, I'm gonna answer some listeners' questions or viewers' questions or subscribers' questions. Basically, I'm gonna be answering questions that you guys have sent in. Again, if you wanna ask me anything, just comment in the video below what you want me to answer next week, or you can wait till Sunday where I'll post a question box on my Instagram story. Again, I try to answer these questions as honestly as possible and as off the cuff as possible. Just so, yeah, it comes off more genuine, and I hope you guys enjoyed this segment as much as I do. But let's get into the first question. All right, first question. So this one comes from James. Which will save the legs more, the Alphafly 3 or the Endorphin Elites? Which will save your legs or my legs? Because me personally, my foot rolls in a fair bit. And the thing with the Alphafly 3 is it's quite narrow, and my foot tends to roll a little bit more when it's in a narrow shoe. What I really love about the Endorphin Elites, what I probably love most about them, is that they're a bit wider in the foot. Therefore, they are a little bit more stable, and that offers a little bit more support for me and my ankles rolling in. I find my calf gets absolutely blown out, especially doing a hard effort on narrow shoes or shoes that really don't accommodate for my foot rolling in. So for me personally, I would have to say that the Endorphin Elites will save my legs more in a marathon, and possibly over the shorter distances as well. But at the end of the day, it's totally your own preference and like how your foot and how your body reacts to whatever shoe. I wonder what more people would say. What do you reckon? I want you guys to answer this. Comment down below whether you think the Alphafly 3 or the Endorphin Elites are better for saving the legs. All right, moving on to the next one. So what does your days in the gym look like at the moment? My gym days are scarce. As I get deeper into marathon prep, I'm more conservative with my legs and going hard in the gym. That's pretty much how my gym is going at the moment. I'm not gonna comment any further on that. But next one, how often do you buzz your hair and what length? Well, every 2 weeks would be ideal for me, but usually it looks more like every 3 weeks. I'm definitely due. You know you're due for a haircut when somebody at my work says to me, oh, you shave your own head, hey? That is an insult. When you go to a hairdresser or a barber and they fade you up so nice and it starts to grow out and you don't have a fade anymore, and someone says that you shave your own head, that's a slap in the face. I don't care who you are. That's a slap in the face. So I was a little bit offended by that, but to be fair, I do need a haircut. But I go a high skin fade at the back, and then I just do a number 2 at the top, and then I just get them to box it up. So I should see a couple of you guys with some sick fades. And last question. This one's from Bron. How to stop tummy cramping after running? Mine is insane. I haven't really had this experience, but if I had to just blurt out the first thing that comes to mind, I would say experiment with the different type of foods that you can have before a run, and see which one makes you feel the best. Or write down and actually document which ones don't make you feel the best, and then try to stick away from those. Yeah, try a few different things. And see which works best for you. What works good for me might not work good for you, and what works great for you might not work for me. So the thing with nutrition and GI is it's definitely something that is completely personal. It's something that you need to work on yourself, and it can be something that takes time to figure out as well. I've kind of figured out a really good system that works for me, but yeah, like I said, it might not work for you, or it might not work for Fred as well. So yeah, best thing I could say to you is just experiment with a few different types of food, see which one works best for you, and then go from there. And yeah, let me know how you go with that as well. Message me on Instagram and let me know how you go with that. And yeah, guys, that's it. That's all of the questions I'm going to answer for today's episode. Again, if you have any questions, comment them down below, or just DM me on Instagram. That works as well. But thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Training Diaries on the Noosa 245 marathon video series. Bit of a mouthful there. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next week's episode. Peace. Oh, and like and subscribe as well.